Hold on, let me get my notes. I'm not even ready.
Oh, we found our stinger.
Well, you think you can make that dictation, my sir. Are you going to be the one editing
I'm
it?
sorry, please.
No, but I know you're going to edit it out.
How do you know?
And there's a stinger. Like just the magic word.
What if I make that like at the very beginning? What if I just put you're gonna edit it out, right? And then have the intro song. Take the rug out from under ya. Cold open.
Hey, where's my rug?
Is a troll.
It's a cold open. All right, everyone. Welcome to the 4th episode of the Suburban Media Gaming Podcast.
I thought we were on the 25th.
Yeah, the
episode 100.
Episode 25.3. We are recording this on 11/25. Oh, is your phone ringing, Duncan?
Don't worry, it was no one important.
Okay. Quick announcement, there's going to be no episode next week because I will be at PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia.
If you want to talk to him and say hi.
If you're listening
Yes.
to this and want to say hi to him,
Yes.
but not say hi to us, you can just say hi to him.
Exactly. Most people don't want to say hi to you guys.
Damn.
What? No, I mean, no.
Hey!
I want to say hi to you.
Oh, thank you. Hi.
Hi.
I'm not Josh, and with me today is...
Ow! Why'd you do that for?
Well, rip table.
Rib is a new table.
I am the table HG.
It's Andy, and also
Too elusive. From Too Elusive.
it's Duncan, and
I'm also Josh.
that's so Josh.
Josh.
It's Helios. He doesn't have a YouTube or a Twitter.
Nope.
Yay!
Or Twitch either.
No, no.
Or-
Who
or-
has
or-
a Twitch?
Or-
Aura. So let's kick off today. Like, we're gonna talk about some games that we've been playing. I know that a bunch of you have been playing Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
In this case, I'm watching someone else play.
Oh,
so.
I mean, still. I know that we
Sometimes
talked about
play.
this 2 episodes ago, an episode and a half ago. I don't know, something like that. We talked about it before.
Yeah.
I know I'm probably still not going to get it, but I'll borrow Andy's copy. What are
Of
your
course
guys'
you
more informed opinions about the game now that it's out?
I give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
It's like, if you play the original Gen 1 or arguably Fire Red Leaf Green, you're not getting a whole lot new, but for what it is, it's not bad. It's actually pretty good.
It's. I know that a lot of people are saying that it's absolutely adorable.
It
Yes.
is.
I love
Probably
it
general
graphically.
consensus.
I will say this. I feel like it does hold your hand a little bit too much in some cases, but this is also a problem in some of the more recent generations as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's also, I don't know. To me, it looks a lot more geared towards children than the other ones too.
Yeah.
So I'm not super surprised it's holding your hand.
Well, I mean, they definitely intended it to be like a bridge game for those who are more familiar with Pokemon Go than they are the main games, which I do see that. They do keep some of the actual gimmicks of the games. I'm a little bit surprised they don't have abilities, which
Yeah,
drew
that
me
seems like
off at first.
A weird cut.
But at the same time, it makes the battle with Pikachu, if you're using the Eevee version, much easier. You don't have to worry about static activating and, getting paralyzed in your first Pokemon battle.
Just for tackling him.
It's like,
Yeah.
ooh, you tackled me. You get paralyzed.
I think that's primarily why they removed it. So they can balance them out and everything else in between.
And I will say this because I was playing this briefly with Josh over here. We were doing the 2-player.
Oh yeah, we momentarily did the co-op, and that was
It was actually funny.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, here's the thing that I personally think is a little bit unfair in the game. If you do decide to play this game with someone else, the Pokemon that the second player uses is basically always going to be the second one, behind the first one. And when you go into battles, whether it's through wild battles or trainer battles, it will always be 2v1.
Oh.
that probably makes the game a little easier too.
So you
If
could.
the game wasn't easy enough for you, you could play this entire game going 2v1.
Oh my
So
God.
you could legit just hold
Step
the
it up,
other
Brock.
Joy-Con and
Yeah, and just choose your attack and go to town.
that's so dumb.
It was hilarious because it's like, no, because when me and him first played, it's like, oh, it's probably going to be like double battle
Yeah,
style.
2v2.
And it is on one side.
Now we're just picking on the poor Pokemon.
Wow.
Just a non-stop bully fest.
So it doesn't even like scale to that.
Oh no.
That dang.
What, do you
It's
have any words-
overkill.
Do you have any words on it, Duncan?
Honestly, what I have to say pretty much is in the same line as what Andy and Josh has brought up already. What I did find interesting, however, is how they handled the way EVs worked in this one. Instead of fighting the same Pokemon over and over again, you had to feed them candies, which increase their stats. What I'm a little concerned with, though, is that all of their stats can be increased by 500 points, instead of just maxing 2 stats like you did in the previous games. So, depending on which Pokemon you do that to, that can virtually make them immune to almost anything. Snorlax!
Oh, so that's what you ran a problem with.
Oh, amazing.
It's VGC all over again.
Oh,
I can definitely see...
I don't need a reminder of last year's freaking World Tournament where it was the Snorlax Figgy Berry meta.
Oh no.
Oh no, I remember
We were
that.
watching that.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes...
Recycle.
Recycle Figgy Berry.
Recycle.
I really wouldn't be surprised if
Skill.
Snorlax does end up getting banned from like a competitive standpoint.
Um.
But I'm also not expecting this game to be heavily influenced by competitive play.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
It's
game
definitely-
doesn't feel...
I would definitely say it's a more casual approach to it, and honestly I like it for that reason. It kind of feels more like a breath of fresh air, in my opinion, because I do enjoy the
Also, I
main
don't-
games, but at the same time, it's nice to chill back.
Also, there's no such thing as natures in this game either, right?
No, natures are still
They
there.
are.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're still
Yeah,
there.
they're still affect your IVs.
You're boosting attack.
Yeah,
you're boosting something
yeah,
and you
yeah.
lose lost
No,
something.
IVs is separate. My bad.
But one thing that I definitely
It's been a while since I played
appreciate,
competitive.
and I hope that it does appear in Gen 8, 100%. No more random battles. I love that I get to walk around and pick which Pokemon I want to have that encounter with. Oh, I don't want to run into so many Zubats. That's great. There's an Onix down the street. Yo, let me go get that Onix instead. I can now explore caves in peace.
I like caves now.
I don't know. I gotta imagine that kind of takes away a little bit of the JRPG aspect of the game, though.
But JRPGs, other JRPGs also
There are some that
use...
let you
Yeah,
skip
that's
battles.
true.
There are also other JRPGs that have the whole "I see the enemy" mechanic. Like,
I don't know if I don't know.
like
I
a
don't know,
lot of them. A
personally-
lot of them basically do that.
Personally, I think that would kind of take a little bit away from the Pokemon aspect of it. Like, I know Sun and Moon changed a whole lot of things, but that's something that they didn't change, and I kind of appreciate them for that. But anyway,
I will say one bit of criticism. This goes towards the Pokeball Plus. For the most part, it does work, but I feel like I don't know if it's my hands are too big or something, because you have to press down on the analog stick, because that acts as your A button when you press on it, and there's like a button at the top that works as everything else. I'm not kidding when I'm saying that. It works as everything else to exit a menu or bring up a menu.
What?
But there are times that I was using the analog stick, and I was clearly about to click something, and it slipped to something else.
Rip.
And I found myself, when I'm using the Pokeball Plus, besides free Mew, I use
He's not wrong.
which is like, ooh, $50 for Mew.
Yeah. Pay to win.
we just said it's not competitive.
Which, funny enough, by the time I figured out how you get Mew with the Pokeball Plus, I already had Kadabra in my team, so it's just sitting in my bag right now.
Yeah, and this guy already has an Alakazam.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Pokeball Plus controller could be a little bit better, and especially when they're like recommending you use your dominant hand and playing, using analog with, like, unless it's like the PlayStation being able to control where the character goes with your right hand's not exactly the most comfortable thing.
It's not.
In fact, I find myself playing the Pokeball Plus kind of like an Atari 2600 controller, to be honest.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm not even kidding by that. I literally just play it like one.
Also, I have one more thing I have to ask you. I've already asked Rika about this issue, but I'm wondering if you have the same one. I've noticed that when you're just running around in the world, your character sometimes stutters between walking and running. Does that happen?
At first, I thought there was just a problem with the Pokeball Plus, as I was talking about, which is another reason I played the Atari 2600 style. But no, I notice it feels more comfortable in handheld mode. Like, in terms of controls and everything, it feels more exact. And I didn't really notice any,
the stutter walking?
Yeah. I didn't notice anything like that when in handheld mode.
Because when I'm playing in handheld mode, I don't know if anybody else is going to have this issue, but sometimes my character goes from running to just walking and then running again. And I'm thinking it's my Joy-Con messing up because I had an issue with that like that in the past, and it actually was my Joy-Con. So I swapped games to see if that same problem persists, and it never happened in the other two games, those other two games being Xenoblade and Mario Odyssey. I go back to Pokemon, and it only happens there.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah, it is.
I have to try it out later.
I'm gonna talk real quick about Fallout 76.
Oh yeah, you actually played it.
Yeah,
I've been bugging this guy forever because
yeah.
it's like, hey, it's a new Fallout game. I
So,
wonder if the
it
Fallout
turns
guy
out,
has things to say about it.
Turns out that the internet at my house is terrible, and I cannot play for more than 5 minutes without disconnecting.
No.
So I've gotten to play in several 5-minute spurts, and from what I've played, it's a game. I don't hate it, and I really do want to sink some more time into it. I'm not a big MMO fan. So playing a Fallout game, which I absolutely love Fallout, like Fallout 3 is one of my favorite ones. And Fallout 4 is not as good, but I still had fun with it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people like.
Yeah.
The hype for it was real, and then when the game came out, I heard a lot of people were like,
They changed some things that you can't really change.
Immortal.
They truncated some of the dialogue options in Fallout 4, so instead of like in Fallout 3, you made a selection as to what your character said, and your character wasn't voiced, so that's just what your character said.
Right.
But in Fallout 4, the player character is voiced, which kind of made a lot of the dialogue in the game kind of lame. So normally instead of having all of these ridiculous things you can say, there's like yes, no, question, and sarcasm. Those are your 4 dialogue options.
So they dumbed it down.
Yeah.
They didn't go into full detail like they would in like Mass Effect,
and
for example.
It kind of it took away a lot from the storytelling and the art and the role playing of the game, which kind of made a lot of people upset. And I totally see where they're coming from. I had fun with the game. It's definitely not my favorite Fallout game, but
is that still New Vegas or 3?
It's 3.
Okay.
3 is so good. But Fallout 76 got a lot of like critical reviews when it came out. A lot of people said that it was kind of terrible, and I actually read an article that a lot of people who actually played the game really enjoyed it. I thought that was like a really interesting kind of cross section to look at. That like people who were playing it to review it said that it was bad, and then people who played it to have fun had fun. But at the same time,
so it's kind of like Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's an MMO built on the Creation Engine, which for people who don't know, the Creation Engine is the game engine that all of Bethesda Game Studios specifically games run on. So Skyrim, Fallout 4, all that stuff. That's all Creation Engine, and it's been Creation Engine since Morrowind, which is an incredibly old game, which means it's an incredibly dated tool, and it's not great at making an MMO. So there's a lot of technical issues with the game and a lot of problems that way. And I thought a really weird kind of narrative choice that's kind of taken me out of it just a little bit is the lack of NPCs. There are no human NPCs in the game.
Yeah, no, the only other human NPCs you can interact in that game is with other players.
Yeah,
That's
the only
so
other
weird.
humans you interact with are other humans that are also playing. and it's a little strange. It makes sense the way that it's set up because this is supposed to be the first vault that's opened after the nuclear apocalypse. So
Right.
there's only been 25 years since the bomb dropped, whereas every other Fallout game has been at least 100. And it's very different from the other games because you'd go into a town and there'd be a fully established town and you interact with characters there, where all of the story and all of the kind of like world itself is developed through audio logs and terminal entries, which I mean it's a detriment to the game because it's an MMO that you're playing with your friends, right? So if you're in a group of like 4 people, you're like, guys, shh, I gotta listen to an audio log so that you can like get a little bit of story info before you move on. That's not really how it works when you're in a group of people. So it's not really a system that's built for the game that it's in, which is a little strange, but it's definitely fun, and I want to get a group of people together and actually play once I have a stable internet connection that I can play without dropping.
Yeah, really.
I mean, I definitely heard that if you want to have like some kind of fun in this game, it's definitely a whole lot better to like play with friends. But at the same time, but another reason why I'm probably hesitant to get it's like I get that you can have a lot more fun in this game with friends. But can't you do a lot of things and have fun with those things if you are with your friends?
Yeah, the same reason that I absolutely love Resident Evil 5, just because playing it with friends is amazing.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So like
you
I don't know.
down baddies for no reason. You can play it and not be racist.
Oh my goodness.
That's a side story for a different day. But I mean, that's just my piece on Fallout 76. I want to play more of it. But I can't.
Right.
But
because your internet said no.
My internet said no. And I mean, there's also been a lot of reports of other like people having actual issues with the server. So I know that my internet's dropping on the PS4, but a lot of other people are having problems with actual like Bethesda servers keeping up with the game.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a lot of people say that it feels like an unfinished game, and I definitely see where they're coming from on that. But
I actually have a small tidbit. Apparently next week. And by that I mean I think this week starting, that game's already gonna go on sale.
It's on sale. I think you can pick it up on Amazon for $35.
Yeah.
If
that says anything.
At least by the time this episode's released, I think that's true today while we're recording, but it's possible it's not gonna start till tomorrow.
But yeah, that says something.
Yeah, it's a $60 game, and it came out a week ago.
And it's already on.
And it's on sale for almost half of its original price.
That's almost the same treatment that Street Fighter V got.
It's not performing quite as well as Bethesda had hoped. And I mean, I can't say I'm not surprised.
Hold on, did you just come up with some research?
Yeah, $35. Right there on Amazon.
Dang.
Well, another question that is actually pretty good to bring up is, are you also one of those people that you think Bethesda should maybe find a new, like, tool/engine?
Yeah, they need I love the creation engine because it is an absolute mess, right? Like if you've played through Morrowind or not even Morrowind, if you've played through Oblivion and Skyrim, which is a little bit more reasonable, and if you've played through like Fallout 3 in New Vegas, right? There's so many ridiculous issues and so many goofy glitches, but there's also a lot of like game breaking glitches and like quest ending glitches in those that's not good. And a lot of people like to compare especially Skyrim to The Witcher 3, which I don't think is an entirely fair comparison, but it's a comparison a lot of people like to make. And there's
isn't it also because like what is it thank you isn't it also because like they're running on completely different engines?
Yeah, well, they're running on completely different engines. But the thing is that Witcher 3 is a game. It has the same depth of character of player choice, but it's a lot less like making your own character and role playing as your own character, and a little bit more you're role playing as Geralt and how do you want Geralt to be in this world. So it's definitely equitable because they're very large fantasy RPGs, Skyrim and Witcher. And the difference is that Skyrim is slimmed down Oblivion, and it's lacking some of the depth that Witcher has. And Witcher is just as, if not a little bit bigger, in the scale of its world and the depths of its quests. And it has far less glitches. So, Bethesda, it's getting to a point where they can't really get away with releasing a game that is just riddled with bugs.
Yeah, like I think people are actually starting to notice that, and that's why it's like, I really think they should move on from the creation engine to something else, maybe an Unreal Engine.
They need to move on. They definitely need to move on to something else.
Because it's like the whole reason that from what I heard, the whole reason they want to stay in there is just because it's the employees that work
familiar,
for it. It's like it has a familiar engine, and they can just work on it really quick and efficient.
Every game that they've built since the 90s has been on that engine.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Dang.
I mean, saying one thing, you built Skyrim on that engine, and Skyrim is one of the best-selling games. Like Fallout 4, you built Fallout 4 on that engine. Fallout 4 is, I think, this game that sold the best for them out of any game that they've released.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so there's at least that going for it, but at the same time, it's gotten to a point where they can't really continue to move on and develop new games with this engine. So
I really hope that the newest Elder Scrolls game isn't on this engine.
yeah, well, I mean, we did get the announcement for the Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah.
We don't know where it's going to take place. There's speculation that it's going to be either elsewhere, which is the home of the Khajiit, I think, or what's it called? Ravenwood, I think.
I'm not really versed in the Elder Scrolls.
The forest where the wood elves are from. I think either of those would be really cool. I'm a little bit more partial to the forest because I think that would be, I like my traditional fantasy settings, and a forest full of wood elves is a traditional fantasy setting.
So it's as traditional as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've also announced Starfield, which is going to be a Bethesda original IP, like their first IP since. Ooh. The Elder Scrolls Arena.
I actually cannot help you on that.
I was
MS-DOS.
gonna be like Quake.
Quake was id.
Oh wait, yeah, that's
They
right.
only own
ID.
they only own Quake because they bought id, but they bought id after Quake.
Like, I was just trying to think about what the IPs they have in.
So I mean, Bethesda
Doom?
Game Studios.
No,
Doom is also owned by id.
But I mean, they're coming out with a new.
Yeah, but it's not a new IP.
Okay. fair enough.
Their newest IP is the Elder Scrolls Arena for MS-DOS.
Ouch.
Yes. So. Oh, Andy wants snacks. You were pointing. I was like, "What do you want?" But yeah, no. So the Starfield is going to be a new IP for them, and it's going to be high sci-fi, which is something I'm really excited for. The only thing we have right now is a 30-second teaser with splash screen that has a splash screen of the title of the game, which is pretty exciting. We're really far off track of what we started talking about.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, are there any games besides those two that you guys have been playing? I know Andy's coming out with a video sometime soon for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but is there anything else you guys have been playing before we wrap this up?
I can name two.
Go for it.
So I've actually been playing a lot of Dragon's Quest Heroes 2 recently, and that's just because it's been sitting in my back burner for a while, and I've wanted to play that for the longest time, and now I'm investing some time into it. And so far, it's pretty well made, even and with the whole Dynasty Warriors theme going for it. And I've also been playing a lot of Time Spinner as well, which is a Metroidvania that was recently kickstarted, and I'd say it's a really well-made Metroidvania. Just don't get the Vita version. Well, you can get the Vita version because it's cross-play with your PS4, but don't bother playing it on Vita. Yeah, exactly.
Don't actually play the Vita version.
Yeah, don't play the Vita version. Exactly.
It's like you could have a burger, or you could have one that fell in the garbage.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
That's a good way to put it.
Have you guys been playing anything besides Let's Go Pikachu?
So, how about you, Josh?
No, you can go.
So,
Josh's gears are spinning. He's like, "Wait, what have I been playing?"
Recently,
Everything's Pokemon.
so besides Spyro, the Reignited trilogy,
Which has its
Which I
own
love.
set of problems.
I'll save my thoughts about that for another day. There it is, right there. So I recently become an owner of a Neo Geo AES.
Yeah, you put up a Black Friday pickups video. I'll have a link in the description so that you guys can check that out.
So far, I have 2 games for it, which I'm surprised I have 2 games, considering how...
Games?
Actually, no, they're really fun. I'm just terrible at them. One's a action platformer called Magician Lord, which is really fun, really aggravating.
Okay, I thought for a second that tone of yours, it's like you sound like you were really getting angry.
I actually did sense a little bit of hostility.
I mean, it is good, but I
good,
don't know how to
just.
It's like, no, I'm just terrible at it.
I'm just bad
I know
at video
Doctor
games.
Strange is like your boss or something, or he's like the final boss in this game. I don't know because it's a Japanese copy, and my Japanese is horrendously rusty. And I also got this other game called ASD Last Guardian 2. No relation to the more recent Last Guardian.
I was gonna be like, Last Guardian was so good, it got a sequel in the Neo Geo.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be a prequel?
Actually, yeah, that's a prequel in this case.
This one's a shmup.
Ooh,
A really fun one.
I do like shmups.
So far, that's my only 2 games for it, and I gotta say, Neo Geo is a really fun console. Just, gotta sell your house to have a big library of games, unfortunately, for it.
Dang.
I mean, I've been paying under what they usually go for, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't help that Black Friday sale, like Game Junkie, helped me get a couple of these. And there are a couple more games I'm looking at, and hopefully at some conventions coming up, I can find some for a good price.
Okay. Do you have anything to add, Josh, before we move on?
I mean, the only other thing that I've been playing recently that comes to mind that's not Pokemon related would probably be Mario Maker on the Wii. And playing through it makes me think, man,
This would be nice on the Switch.
I was gonna be like,
Yeah, I think
only
we're
the
all
Switch version
we're
would
all
be
of
good.
that
If only
mind.
the Switch version wasn't a pipe dream.
I mean, it's not. We do have plenty of ports of other Wii U games like Mario Kart and New Super Mario Brothers U.
Where's my Wind Waker and my Twilight Princess? Dang it.
I don't mind.
I need the GameCube Virtual Console. That's where this conversation is gone. We need the we
Where
need
is
the
my-
GameCube Virtual Console on the Switch. But like the virtual
More
GameCube Virtual
Skyward
Console
Sword.
on the Switch, we could have Sunshine and Wind Waker, and I don't care what else. Those are the only 2 that matter.
But that's a discussion for another
Melee.
day.
That is a discussion for another day.
Zero
I
X.
Ninja.
Oh, I remember I Ninja.
Gotcha, Robo.
Gotcha Force. is what you're
Gotcha
thinking of.
Force.
I play gotcha games.
Well, I was gonna say,
Maybe there'd be a
Chibi
gotcha
Robo on
competitor.
GameCube would be cool. But yeah, that's a discussion for another day.
That definitely is. We can move on to our actual topic.
That person on fire.
Yes, there was a fire person.
Where?
I was fighting in a Frida.
Oh.
So our topic for today is going to be games that you didn't think you would like, and then you played them and you liked them. So
Okay.
that's just a really long way of saying games that surprised you.
Okay.
I'm
Games
gonna
that you didn't think you'd like, but you liked. After
Yes.
Playing them.
yes, and so I will start us off as I'm apt to do with Persona 5 because before Persona 5 I
was
do
4.
not like Persona 4. And I bought Persona 5 on a whim, and I bought it because I did not like Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah, you bought it
Ouch.
to spite it.
I didn't buy it to spite it, but so the release window,
I did.
literally week to week, was Horizon Zero Dawn, and then a week later, not Skyward Swords. That was a good one. Breath of the Wild. that was the one that I didn't like. Breath of the Wild, and then a week after that, Persona 5. And so I played Horizon Zero Dawn and I loved it. And I got Breath of the Wild, and I played it, and I did not like it. And I was like, now I don't have any games to play because I already beat Horizon Zero Dawn, and the only other game that I have is garbage. And then Persona 5 came out, and I was like, I don't like Persona. But it's an RPG, so I'll give it a shot. And I fell in love with it. And it was one of the best games that came out that year. I've played through it. I'm currently on my 3rd playthrough. I'm on New Game Plus Plus because I messed up my first New Game Plus, and so now I'm just gonna bring it back, and all that jazz. So that I can talk for hours about Persona 5. I absolutely love that game.
So would you say that Persona 5 was your last surprise?
Ha!
I didn't see it coming. But yeah, you guys can take it on. What about you guys?
I'm still thinking about it.
All right, I'll go then.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this may come to a surprise to some people who actually know me in person, but the game that surprised me when I first played it was Tales of Symphonia. When I first heard of Tales of Symphonia, I didn't think much of it, honestly.
You just hate Tales games, right?
No, I didn't even know what a Tales game was.
Tales
at
of
the
Symphonia
time.
was your first one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I looked at it and it's like, okay, it's another anime style JRPG. Maybe I'll get it, maybe not. I really don't know at this point. But I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead, give it a shot, and just buy it on a whim. I didn't look at any reviews, didn't look up any opinions or nothing. I went in dry. And the more I played that game, the more I fell in love with it. And it's to this day still one of my top favorite RPGs to play, on the GameCube no less.
I have still never beaten it.
Oh wait, which version are you playing right now?
I am not currently playing a version.
He's not currently playing a version.
That's
but
why you
when I
haven't beat it.
did play it, I was on the GameCube version, and I enjoyed it, and I got most of the way through it, and I got to the point where I had these airplanes, and I think I was still in the alternate reality.
Reynards.
And I was just kind of like flying around, and I didn't know what I was doing, and then I put the game down for a couple months, and I came back, and I was like, I don't remember what I was supposed to do.
Well, that's
So
why
I
you look
just-
up the synopsis,
I
my
just
friend.
kind of returned it back to the person that I was borrowing it from. I was like, goodbye. Symphonia, you will remain unfinished.
Wow. But it was definitely a masterpiece when I played through it, and again, still really, really fun game.
I don't
That's
know.
aged pretty well. Well,
Any game with
it's
Genus,
aged well.
Any
enough.
game with Genus in it just can't be a masterpiece. to me.
You must really not like Genus, do you?
He was just really annoying, honestly. I did really enjoy the game, and I did have a lot of fun with like team construction later in the game when you actually have a bunch of characters to pull from. And Rain is an amazing support character.
Rain is literally the best healer out of all the Tales characters.
But I
in
was just really
existence.
surprised that she, as an NPC, was still a good support.
Yeah.
Like, she would not overuse MP, and
Yeah.
she wouldn't, decline using spells when you needed it.
Like,
So-
when I say that she's the best healer, I'm not saying that because of her character alone. I'm saying that because the AI who controlled her was a really, really superior AI. If you go to any other Tales game and do the healer stuff, they don't do as much of a good job as
Nurse.
Brains. Like, oh my goodness. She's too good.
What about you, Andy?
I'm still thinking. While I pick my best game that surprised me, I'll say one that surprised me. It's not exactly praising it. 06 and Shadow of the Hedgehog actually surprised me in some regards.
They were surprisingly
I'll
bad.
I'll explain. Because when I went into them, I had the reputation in my head that I was like, oh, these are the worst games ever. And I think maybe because of how much I paid for both of the games, which really wasn't much, about like $9 a piece. And it's like with Sonic 06, I get the issues with it. It definitely was a rush game.
Yeah, it's just not finished.
I
That's the
could-
big problem. And, I mean,
I could
there's
at
some other
least-
problems with it.
I could at least get some enjoyment out of it. Unironically speaking, it's like I could actually play through some of it.
Some of it.
Keyword, some of it.
Wait,
I
wasn't
still hate silver stages.
Isn't there a point in the game where you can just infinitely build up speed and then launch yourself through the... Isn't that I don't know. The game is so broken that speedrunning that game is just really funny to watch. And I've
There's
seen
two-
a couple speedruns that just abuse glitches, and it is hilarious.
There's too many glitches to keep track of, honestly.
Yeah.
So I can't answer that.
I mean,
like-
for all we know, you are right.
I don't.
You are
I could be
correct.
thinking of something else because I know that in both Mario, in Super Mario 64, and in Wind Waker, there's ways to infinitely build up momentum, and then launch yourself through the game. And I know there's a speedrunning technique in Wind Waker where you can do that, I think, on Dragon Roost Island, and then just launch yourself to the next island, so you don't even have to sail. You just build up so much speed that you just launch through the ocean. And I know in Mario 64, it's used primarily for limited A button press runs,
Yes.
which is a completely different beast. But I'm pretty sure there's a similar glitch in
Probably.
06.
Oh, totally.
I'm probably making this up. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, if we're talking about favorite glitches real quick, it'd probably be the one where I glitched Sonic out of the arena versus Silver, because when you can't go back in there, and second, if you get close to him as he's running, he'll actually launch you to outer space.
Not to derail the conversation further, but the only glitch that I've ever legit done intentionally in that game was for Silver's billiard ball puzzle.
Oh, the one where you glitch
Yeah.
through the door.
Yeah,
Because
you just
fuck that puzzle.
you just glitch through the door because that puzzle's like legit butt.
Oh yeah, no, that puzzle's terrible.
And yeah, it's like I can at least play through it. And then again, it probably has to do with the fact that I didn't spend full price on that game.
I mean, yeah, that's
So
definitely
my
surprising.
view might be biased on that, because I was like expecting it to be, you know, Superman 64 levels of unplayable and oh god,
Stupid.
oh god, and Shadow the Hedgehog. As much as I really don't like the main campaign at all, like really at all, I enjoyed the multiplayer.
Yeah.
I have to agree.
That was actually fun. Now, by no means,
I want to play as
No.
Metal Shadow with a green stripe on his
No.
forehead.
I want to make a disclaimer. I am not saying that these games are good.
But they're not.
Actually, you're
bad.
saying quite the opposite. But
It's like,
you're saying that they're
games
not
are-
quite as bad as you assumed
like-
they would be when you first picked
I
them
would
up.
probably
They're still
give
pretty
them
bad.
an E or D minus at best. Because in my opinion, there were worse Sonic games. But that's another discussion. But
That's a discussion.
as far as
For
other... Oh, I did think of one game.
Oh,
That,
okay.
that I forgot that I was talking about earlier. When I was younger, I was hesitant to play the Super Mario 2 or Super Mario USA as Japan knows it,
Oh, okay.
because, you know, fundamentally it was way different than the first one, Super Mario 3 and Super Mario World.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it just looked a little bit too odd, but I gave it a try.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the best, but it was a really fun Mario game.
Yeah, like
And I'm kind of happy we got that one over Lost World.
aka ROM hacking the game that cost you like $50 back in the day.
If you're lucky.
If you're
Like I say, if you looked at like some game prices from like Funkoland or some old game stores,
Mhm.
you'd be surprised at the how the prices fluctuate. Like Earthbound was like $25 at one point. That was including the whole thing, and there was like this Super Nintendo game that was like $71. It's like, as much as we complain about like game prices and so,
Yeah.
imagine spending $71 on a game and not knowing if it was going to be good or not.
Oh yeah, no, I heard like the Super Mario Brothers 3 copy that I got from my dad back in like the 90s probably cost as much as a new AAA title game today, $60.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can pretty much get like Mario Brothers 3 for like what, 20,
Mhm.
25? Not even, maybe less than that.
But yeah, Super Mario Brothers 2 surprised me when I first played it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I can
Yeah.
fully understand that.
Yeah, it's a really fun game, and
I can't find any confirmation of an infinite momentum glitch in Sonic 06, but I did find a flying box glitch in which you can spin dash on top of a box and fly, and another glitch that lets you complete the game right after you finish the Silver the Hedgehog boss battle in Sonic's story. by getting the yes/no dialogue box up and dying at the same time, and then just fooling the game into thinking that it's finished.
That's funny.
This game is amazing.
I got it.
I got
You
it.
might. And I had a flashback to Dumbo.
Wait, what?
No,
Yeah.
the scene where what's the name of the mouse again?
I don't know.
It's like whispering in the ringleader's ear.
I know
while
who you're
he's
talking
sleeping.
about, but I don't
And
know
then he
what
like
his
wakes.
name is.
And then,
I
but
wasn't
yeah,
really. I didn't. Those were one of the few Disney movies I did not watch.
and he like wakes up in the middle of the night after he's like being told to put Dumbo as the main attraction. He's like, that's it, I got it.
Oh yeah,
And he wears his hat, and he's wearing his hat while he's sleeping. By the way, I don't know if we can like show like a picture or a clip in this, but I love his face when he says I got it. Like every time as a kid, I always cracked up at his face. But anyway, the other game that I just thought of, and I think Josh would appreciate this.
Oh boy.
Digimon Cyber Sleuth.
Oh, yes! Oh my god, I love that game!
That game's too good!
I love it. I never want to play another Digimon game again after that one.
I've kind of had like a hit and miss reputation with the Digimon games before that. Like, this will be a discussion for another video, but I had the first Digimon World game, and I was just very disappointed by that.
Mm-hmm.
And sad thing was, that was a birthday present.
Ouch.
And I ended up eventually disappointed by that. It's like, ooh, it's Digimon, but it's live action Tamagotchi, so they poop. They poop a lot. They poop a lot.
See,
do they poop too much? They're gonna Digivolve in the poop.
wait, please tell me that's not real.
Sukimon.
Oh wait, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
they
He is already
Digivolve into
technically.
Sukamon if they don't properly do their bathroom needs.
Even if Sukamon isn't technically part of their line to Digivolve?
Apparently they are. Because you get like
Wow.
Agumon and Gabumon.
See,
And
the
then-
only kind of poop that I like, and this is partially thanks to Cyber Sleuth.
I'm
is
glad you started that
Platinum
sentence. I don't even care how it ends. I'm glad you started that sentence.
The only kind of poop that I like.
I don't know what kind of sites you've been on.
Is it Platinum or the Gold one?
No, Platinum.
Platinum.
Platinum by
Oh,
far.
yeah. Platinum is the one that
EXP.
gives you EXP, right?
Yeah, basically.
And there was Digimon World 2, which was a better step in the right direction, but
It's
kind of got boring.
yeah.
I forgot
No,
Digimon
see, look,
World 3.
Here's the thing: it's Digimon World, and that was eh. World 2 was a little better, but still eh.
3, I forgot anything about 3.
I remember World 3 being somewhat praised, definitely. Maybe I could be wrong in saying that 3 was the best one. And I remember
or at least
also-
out of the PlayStation ones.
Yeah, out of the PlayStation.
And then
ones.
there was one based off of the card game
I don't remember
that
one.
it was one of those games I never had the case for. It was one of those
What was
discounted games at like a Blockbuster.
Oh, it wasn't the ones that you like put in like those like little like paper container kind of things.
Oh, the sleeve.
Yeah, the sleeves.
Yeah, it was but yeah, it was like based off of the card game that I had. I still have some of the cards.
I think I have some of the cards too, but I don't have them anymore.
And
kinda,
it
like,
is
disappeared.
probably the only time I actually played the card game.
I do
was by
have
playing the video game.
a quick tangent.
What's up?
The only game I've ever owned that didn't have the original box was Super Smash Bros. Melee, because I got it secondhand, and it was literally just the game in a PS2 case with a purple piece of paper as the cover that somebody wrote that, or no, it wasn't a PS2 case, it was a DVD case that somebody wrote.
Oh, dang.
That somebody wrote Super Smash Bros. Melee across the front of in like Sharpie. So there was nothing official about it at all. The
Dang.
CD slot in the box was too big for the game because it was a GameCube game.
Wow.
I did eventually get an original box for it, and I don't work at GameStop anymore, so I can probably say this now, but I totally took it. Because when you trade in a game at GameStop, even if it's like an old game for GameCube, which you can trade in at GameStop, it doesn't change the value whether it has or doesn't have the box.
Oh,
Somebody
yeah.
traded in Smash Brothers Melee, complete with the box. And I was like, damn, that's a nice box.
So you insta-swap that.
So I just like took it, you know, I put it into its own. I made some generic art for it. I threw that in. I put that in our return to the warehouse carton.
Wow.
Was it?
Bam!
Did you,
Got
like,
myself complete inbox
You
melee.
should have put in the box container that you had.
I didn't feel like going all the way back to my house to get the generic box art so that
It
I
would've
could
been-
switch it out. I just did
It
the
would have been
standard
funny
GameStop thing.
if you
for
like
it.
just recreated the actual box art, but just did like with really terrible stick figures.
Of like Link doing his down air on a poorly drawn Bowser blowing flame at Mario.
Yep. Yep.
and a crudely drawn Smash emblem.
I used to have boxes like that come in shipment because like at GameStop you had to ship a game with a box, and you had to have art for the box. But sometimes store supplies don't come on time,
Oof.
and you run out of box art while you're shipping a game or shipping games. And so I had a couple come in the mail that was just literally like a stick figure on the box and like Sharpie of the title of the game and a note posted, like a post-it note on the front of the box that said sorry, ran out of cover art. I'm like, yeah, I'm not, I guess I gotta make more cover art for this. Like sometimes I'd be like, I really wish I could just put this out on the wall. This is amazing.
Wow.
Not to derail too far,
Yes.
but
But yeah, no. I can agree with you, Andy. Cyber Sleuth has ruined me of all the other Digimon games. Even like the new, what is it, Next World Order, which was a newer Digimon game.
Yeah.
I went to it. I played a little bit, and I'm like, wow.
Let's go back to Cyber Sleuth.
Yeah.
Cyber Sleuth's looking great. Let's go play that again.
wasn't there a direct sequel to Cyber
Yep.
Sleuth? that
Yes.
you
It's
Yes,
called Hacker's Memory.
And literally, I like it literally only because all they did was add more Digimon.
Yeah.
You can actually get Black War Greymon.
Yes, without needing to pre-order day freaking one.
You can get all of Shopmon's forms, a Goonimon,
A Goonimon and
yeah.
Lobomon.
yeah, and Lobomon.
I wish there was all 7 of them, but hey, we have 2, so we are going in the step in the right direction.
Yep.
But yes, I totally
Yeah.
agree with you there.
That was one game that definitely surprised me because it's like Pokemon,
Yeah, but with Digimon.
but actually kind of more interesting, honestly, and more fan service.
Yeah, battles are always 3v3.
Yeah.
Or well, sorry, you can have
Usually.
up to 3, and your opponent can have up to 3. But
And
that's only
sometimes
up
you
to
get
you.
an extra.
Yeah, and yeah, you can basically when it comes to that game, what I like about it is that you can have teams up to I think 12. No,
9.
I'm pretty
Over
sure it's
9.
9. I'm
Nine.
pretty sure it's 9.
I don't know anything about Digimon.
Because
so
I
I'm gonna take
remember
your
that
guys'
you
word
have
for it.
like 3 as your main, then you got 3 more in your back
Yeah.
row, and then you got 3 more in
no, I
reserve.
think okay, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think it is 9. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's 9.
Yeah, but basically you have teams of 9, but the first 3 Digimon are your starting row, and you can and you can also like switch them in between during battle, which is amazing.
And honestly, I like the story as well.
Yeah, the story.
Dude, the story was surprisingly good.
Yeah.
A game that surprised me with a lot of really good story was the Tomb Raider, the reboot.
Yeah,
That
was
I
also on.
I picked it up because it was on PS3. I picked it up for just like a couple bucks, like on a whim, because it was another point where I didn't have any games to play, and the person at GameStop was like, "Yeah, I tried Tomb Raider," and I was like, "Okay."
Was this after or before you played the Uncharted series?
This was before that. This is an important detail. This was before I played Uncharted, because I played the Tomb Raider reboot, and I was like, "Dang, this is really good." And I think I beat the game in a day, but it was kind of short. So like that's not saying that I just like am really good at video games, because I'm not. That's just, it was a short game, but I still really enjoyed it, and it actually surprised me how much I enjoyed it, and it was it was what I had been told Uncharted was like, where you get to kind of explore a little bit, do some climbing. There wasn't a lot of puzzles in the main story, but in the first Tomb Raider reboot, you can find optional tombs, and the optional tombs are all physics-based puzzles, and they all involve things that you've already learned throughout the game, and they're all really fun puzzles too. And then I played Uncharted.
How'd that go?
Yeah, you don't sound too enthused.
Uncharted is a pile of trash when compared to Tomb Raider.
Oh Lord.
Which is really funny because the new Tomb Raider is trying to imitate Uncharted, and Uncharted is trying to imitate the original Tomb Raider, and somehow the copy of the copy did it best.
Wow.
The problem I have with this is another tangent. This is a terrible tangential episode, but the problem I have with Uncharted is the combat is really bad, especially in the first one, and it's not any better in the second one. It's the combat's really bad. There's sections where you're forced to do just wave battles against enemies, and it just feels terrible every time it happens because the game kind of promotes stealth a little bit. They're like, hey, try to sneak up on enemies and get stealth kills, but it doesn't matter because as soon as you kill one person, everybody around them realizes that they're dead, and you just get targeted by everybody. So then you have to fight waves of enemies with terrible combat.
Oh, that's awful.
Climbing in Tomb Raider is really fun because, I mean, it's all one path and there's no way to deviate while you're climbing up things, but there's an amazing sense of scale, and climbing is involved to a point where you're actually, like, you know, pointing Laura which way to go and jumping, and you actually have to time. It's engaging doing the climbing in Tomb Raider. And then in Uncharted is kind of hold up, and when he stops climbing, hit the jump button. Jump to the next miscolored step on the wall.
It sounds very
Yay.
clunky with how you're describing it.
It's very on rails, which is kind of what Naughty Dog is just. I don't think they're as good at writing as everybody says they are. I think that The Last of Us is really good, and everybody who says Last of Us is good is not lying. It is worth playing. But Uncharted is just somehow they didn't do the writing as well as they did in The Last of Us. And also the mechanics fight against you at every turn. So it's either not engaging or the mechanics of the game are actively trying to prevent you from having fun.
Oh,
Lordy.
Yeah, it's not great. That's my opinion on it. I was told every time I played an Uncharted game, I was like, I don't like this. I'm not having fun. I was told by somebody who liked Uncharted, like, oh, the next one's better. And I was like, fine, I'll grit my teeth, I'll power through it, I'll get to the next one. And then the next one's not fun. And they're like, oh, no, 3 is the best one. You gotta play through 3. So I got through the second one, and I started the third one, and I was like, I don't like this. Why am I playing it? I just returned it because I bought it pre-owned. I just gave it back. I was like, I don't want this. Take it back.
I saw you had a
how
really
long
hard
did
time
you
trying
spend in 3?
Probably like 2 or 3 hours because I was just like, this is just exactly what I've been doing for the past 8 hours and not having any fun. I'm just gonna not play this.
Just like the one sucks. Here, try this one. It's better. Okay, no, this one's terrible too. I think I should stop. No, I promise.
The next one is better.
The next the next one is the best one. It's the one.
It's a definitive game.
Turns out the fourth one's actually the definitive game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But that's because I was playing the trilogy before the fourth one came out.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody could say that until after I put down 3, and they're like, oh no, but the next one's better. And I was like, I've done this song and dance. Not again. Not again.
Time to power through 3. See, 4 is good.
I can't do
I'm
it.
not tangoing this tango.
I love Claudia Black, but like I cannot. That's not enough of a saving grace for me to be able to play through the entire game.
I feel it.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, one thing won't carry you.
Not even the promise of the next one being better.
Which it probably is.
I mean, it's probably better, but it probably doesn't fix the issues that I have.
The scars are already there.
Yeah, exactly.
You now have PTSD.
The promise of healing scars only came out with more scars.
This is on the PS4 too, so I could be like, or I could just stop playing the single play Metal Gear Solid 5.
Oh,
I didn't mean to derail the entire conversation.
That's fine. That's fine.
His Uncharted experience in a nutshell.
Yeah, that was a fun tangent.
I mean, I wasn't really interested in the Tomb series, so the Uncharted series was
Yeah,
not
that's
doing anything, any favors.
Don't do it. If you don't like Tomb Raider, don't even try Uncharted.
I think you might have saved me the trouble because I wanted to try it out eventually.
Different sides of the same coin. If you want to try out Uncharted, play Tomb Raider.
That's
It's
the thing.
good.
I played Tomb Raider, which is what got me slightly interested in trying Uncharted because I wanted to see what the other side of the coin was like. But after,
I mean, you can play it, form your own opinion, but
yeah.
I'd rather you not.
just if you come back to me next week and you're like, oh, I didn't like Uncharted, I would be like, what'd I tell you?
One game I just thought of.
What's up?
Honestly, the first Pokemon game, Red and Blue,
Yeah.
I didn't think too much about.
Actually,
The
the
first
first
time it came out.
Pokemon games were red and green in Japan.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't live in Japan.
I don't live in Japan.
Japan.
I don't live on the planet of Nintendo Japan. So,
But what about Red
but
and
yeah,
Blue?
I wasn't too keen on the games originally when they came out. And then my grandfather got me a Game Boy Color and a copy of Red for the holidays. And there was just something about... It's like, it wasn't my first RPG or JRPG for that matter. Star Tropics on NES is actually my first. But there was something really about... There was just something about it. There's just something about Pokemon. And it's probably a reason I still... Yes, that is my screensaver, by the way. It's, there's just...
Andy, what the heck?
So for those without context, I looked at his phone the first time it popped up, and I paid it no mind because all I saw was Tigger and some beam. But what it actually is Tigger with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Thanos.
With his face photoshopped over Thanos. It's the most beautiful screensaver I ever had. But back to Pokemon. But there's just something and I still love the Pokemon games for this reason. You kind of really go on a journey with them. You kind of really like becoming the best in the game.
You want to be the best.
It's one thing I really love about JRPGs. You just kind of become part of the event. You become part of the adventure, and it's just so fun. And I was gonna say I didn't fully expect that from Pokemon, but oh my god, it was just like
Now you're in for life.
and
Now
almost
you
about
will never leave.
and now about 20 years later, after it came out in North America, I'm still playing this.
Actually, you're still playing Red and Blue now that you're playing Let's Go.
Correction, I'm still playing Yellow,
Fair.
but now I get to pick Eevee.
Also, there's one other game I do want to bring up as another that shocked me. And that game is Final Fantasy Tactics
Yes.
on the PS1. Like, I've never played any other tactics game before I played Final Fantasy Tactics. And I literally got the game initially because I heard Cloud was in it. So I'm like, okay, Cloud's in the game, so I want to go ahead and play it. And at first, I'm wondering when I get to control my characters like a regular person, because I'm thinking I'm going to run around in the world like I do in every other Final Fantasy game. And I'm instead on like some kind of playing map, and I'm like, wait, what am I doing? So I said, all right, you know what? I'm gonna let the game breathe. This is like little young me playing this right now. So I'm still exploring the game and trying to figure out the.
Why is it going Fire Emblem on me?
We wouldn't know what Fire Emblem was at that time.
True.
This is true.
So I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to approach this game like a chessboard because that's what it feels like. And my God, was it absolutely amazing. The characters are great. The story is really good. The soundtrack is top notch. And the gameplay mechanics are absolutely phenomenal. Love every nook and cranny about that game. And I still play it to this day as well. Actually, wait. You're the only one that didn't really add anything
Oh, sorry.
to this list.
I mean, I was waiting for everyone else to finish up. That's why.
All right.
And actually, well, that did give me enough time to
Let's
think about
dish.
two games that surprised me. And I'm gonna start off, and this this probably surprised you the most because you know I ran a rave about this game all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah.
I can understand.
Was it the moment where you suplexed a train?
No, because the first time I played Final Fantasy VI, I thought that game looked and played boring as hell.
Okay,
Yeah.
that actually does surprise me.
When I first picked up the game, I'm like, wow, this game is actually really boring and I don't like it.
Wow.
And this was back then when I went over to a parents' friend's house and they had a Super Nintendo set up there. And yeah, I was playing, they had like Super Mario World. Then I picked up a little game known as Final Fantasy 3 and it's like, oh, it has a cute little like weird teddy bear looking thing in the front, which I'll later find out it was a Moogle. So it's like, it looks harmless, let's try it. I snap it on, turn it on, everything looks dark, and it's like, ooh, this looks like it's going to be kind of good. There's already a file in there, so I load it up, and it's like, okay. I load up, and it actually turns out that the person who was playing before me was already in the elevated land area.
Right.
Right before the World of Ruin. Again, I wouldn't know that at the time, so I'm like, okay, let's go around. What? Okay, can't go here. Can't go there either. Okay.
How can you play this? There's nothing
And I'm just
to
walking
do.
around, and I'm like,
There's no buttons.
Who's this girl with green hair? Is that a girl? Okay.
How do you jump?
Okay.
How do I
I can't
jump?
pass. I can't pass through these buttons. Maybe if I jump, I press A. Why aren't I jumping? Maybe it's the B button. Okay, still can't jump either. The Y button? X, L, R, start, select, no, nothing. It's like, what do you do here? I run around. Eventually, I get to a random battle. My first random battle in an RPG. Got my butt handed to me. Because all I was doing is just it's like, oh, okay, this is what you do. All right, what do you do? Press A. I press attack with literally everybody. I cast no magic spells or nothing. Just attack. And it's just, and I get my butt kicked out. And I'm like, all right, that was weird. And then that's when I first discovered the new game option. And it's like, new game? Oh, does it let me play an actual new game? This is me as a kid thinking, wow, I actually get to play a new game.
Wow, you were an idiot.
Wow. Oh, it's gonna put on a different game.
Yeah, basically. I click on it, turns out that I actually reset it from the beginning. So whoever was playing that would probably be pissed off if
Wait, you actually erased his file?
Yes!
Oops.
And mind you, he's about to hit the World of Ruin, so I think he was around the halfway.
Yeah, that was
point
at
of
the
game.
halfway point of the game,
So
dude.
that's all
Not
lost.
anymore. Not anymore.
Did you at least discover how much you enjoy the game at that moment?
See, at that point, I can definitely tell that I was far from a Final Fantasy fan. I didn't even want to think about Final Fantasy at the time. I was actually one of those people that didn't want to be in a Final Fantasy thing. And then I played to this other game, which is probably why I chose these two games, because technically they're interconnected in a way. The other game that actually surprised me when it originally came out, and I got to try it out, was Kingdom Hearts. Because when I saw first Kingdom Hearts, the commercials for it, you know, it was saying, oh, it's like a Disney and Final Fantasy crossover. Now already, you said Final Fantasy. I don't like that.
That was a red flag.
I already don't
No,
like you.
no.
And Final Fantasy, and I was thinking back to the first time I played Final Fantasy 3, and then after that, messing with Disney, and I'm like, that's pretty stupid, actually. Why in the world would this happen? Easy skip. I'm not playing this.
You know
I'm not
what?
gonna buy it.
You know what? I was like shocked for that same reason with Kingdom Hearts. Now that I think about it, except it's not so much because of Final Fantasy, but because it had Disney characters in it. When I see a Disney game when I was younger, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be boring and very kiddie-ish.
You take that back. Aladdin was great.
I didn't play Aladdin when I was a kid.
Actually, I didn't play Aladdin when I was a kid either. But the Disney game that I played when I was a kid was the Toy Story game.
Okay, yeah, that was good.
I had a computer. I had a
was
computer
good.
version of the Toy Story game. I loved that game.
That was a good one.
What's the flavor? It's liquid.
I think the only other Disney game that I remember playing was the Monsters Incorporated one for the PlayStation 1.
I forgot there was a game for that.
I actually really liked it. It was pretty good.
But it was weird for me because when I was looking at Kingdom Hearts for the first time, it was on G4 in Tech TV. X-Play, I think, was my first look at it.
For me, it was cheap.
Which, it was like, and I'm showing my age by mentioning G4. So G4, Adam Sessler, I think, was the host of that of X-Play, and it was weird because it was a Japanese trailer for Kingdom Hearts, and seeing Donald and Mickey and Goofy speaking in Japanese was weird.
And like I said, because they already added the Final Fantasy part, I was like, okay, I clearly am not going to like this game. Easy skip for me. And then when I moved here to Pennsylvania, I went over to a friend's house, and he had the game, and it's like, really, dude, this game looks terrible. I would not play this. And it's like, no, try it. When I first tried out the game, it was when he was in Hollow Bastion, and he was taking on the second Riku fight.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, here, I'm having trouble. Here, you try it. And I'm like, fine, whatever, I'll play this crappy game. Play it, get my butt kicked. Alright, let's try this again. Play it, get my butt kicked. And then I didn't put it down because I was just really that determined to beat Riku. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to get the game on my own. I'm going to play it from beginning to start, and I'm going to kick this guy's butt the right way. I played it, and by the time I finished it, I'm like, wow, that was actually really good. What the heck? And then even after that, when I met all the Final Fantasy characters that were in there, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give Final Fantasy one more shot. And then I gave it another shot, and I actually started liking Final Fantasy after that.
So it was basically Kingdom Hearts that got you into Final Fantasy.
Yeah, basically.
Well, I mean, Kingdom Hearts got me more into Final Fantasy because I played 7 in Tactics before I played Kingdom Hearts.
Right.
And I didn't think too much of 7, honestly, when it first came out. I personally still kind of like Tactics better. I
was going to be like, I wasn't a PlayStation guy, so I heard nothing of 7. So
I grew up with the PlayStation. So.
I literally did a moon jump over the Final Fantasy 7 hype. I was all about the Mario 64 hype.
I had a friend who
I still haven't played Final Fantasy 7.
I had a friend who had
confession.
every single Final Fantasy game
that
came out, and it was because of him I got into Final Fantasy earlier than most. Not only that, but the reason why I started with 7 specifically is because I just saw a dude running around with Super Saiyan hair and a large sword, and it looked cool. So I said I wanted to play that.
I think it was because of Sephiroth I had interest in Final Fantasy 7. Just because I was like, that's a really big sword. And look at his hair.
Look at his hair. It's long as his sword.
And look at Cloud. And it said
his hair defies gravity.
Super Saiyan with a sword.
What is that, Trunks?
No, it's Gohan. He's wearing purple.
You mean Piccolo?
Jesus.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts was interesting. And it wasn't just, Disney characters speaking Japanese, which is a weird concept to me.
Dude, how do you think it's a weird concept to me where the 2 games that I rant and rave about how much I like them and how much I always play them, there was a time where I absolutely hated them and didn't want to go anywhere near them.
It happens.
And meanwhile, what got me to play Kingdom Hearts, like what finally brought me to play it after seeing the Disney characters and thinking it's just going to be a random kid game that I wasn't going to be into, was that episode of Cheat on G4. They had a whole episode dedicated to beating every secret boss and everything. And it was specifically the fight against Sephiroth that made me get the game. And not only that, but the action combat looked really fun.
So Final Fantasy got you into Kingdom Hearts.
Final Fantasy and the action-oriented combat. I didn't think it was going to be action-oriented like that.
In G4.
Yeah, RIP G4, by the way.
Like, now you're just nothing but Spike TV with endless marathons of cops.
I don't even think it's alive anymore. I think the channel's actually dead. I'm pretty sure they killed
Spike
the channel
died.
off. Well, no, Spike didn't die. I mean, G4 died.
No, I mean it eventually turned into Spike, I think.
Oh yeah, like when it was
That's
still
right.
during his last when it was still going, it was showing nothing but Cops, Star Trek, and other shows that had nothing to do with games.
It was originally Tech. Okay, I'm looking at it right now. It was originally Tech TV, and became G4
G4 Tech TV. Wait, formerly called G4 Tech TV.
at one point.
G4 is a defunct American digital cable and satellite television channel. So yes, it's no longer around.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, didn't it turn to the Spike Channel?
Extinction. It has its extinction date.
Wow.
Thank you, based Wikipedia.
Yeah,
I think
meaning that
Spike
there's
was
no-
like its replacement,
Sounds about
or it was like bought by that company.
American Ninja Warrior.
Happy Tree Friends. Oh my goodness.
I remember that.
The last time I watched it was last summer on Netflix. That show was never as good as I remembered it.
Happy Tree Friends?
Yes.
Yeah, this is not a conversation topic that we're going to keep talking about.
I mean, it is relevant to how we got into Kingdom Hearts, though.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Kinda,
And it devolved into Happy Tree Friends.
I don't see anything on here that says what it was replaced with.
Oh well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it just straight up died, and that's it.
I mean, it probably all Spike did was just replace its slots, basically. It's like, oh, hey, here's an opening for our channel network. Who wants in?
Will
Spike.
Wheaton was on that show. He was a
Olivia
co-host
Munn.
of
Oh yeah,
Arena.
that's right. Olivia Munn was on Attack of the Show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Attack of the Show.
Olivia Munn, the only good Psylocke, and Bryan Singer refused to give her any actual dialogue.
Rip.
Yeah, Adam Sessler, co-host of X-Play
Mhm.
in 1988 to 2012, and a regular appearances on Attack of the Show. So that
that
ends
note.
that ends
Yeah,
that
that's all I got.
tangent.
So yeah, we just remembered that G4 and Tech TV was a thing.
Again, rest in peace.
Now I'm gonna go home and try to find stuff on YouTube.
I have a few taped episodes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pull
Oh
out
my
that
God.
I know
Yeah.
what we're do after we record. We're gonna watch some. We're gonna pull out the VHS player.
Who said I still have the tapes?
Then why would you bring it up?
I'm just saying that I did at one point.
You're the worst. All right. Well, with that, that's gonna end this episode of SMG-Cast. Thank you guys so very much for listening. I'm in YouTuber stuff now.
Yay!
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe, subscribe. I said that twice.
Just to make
No,
sure
say it
they
again.
didn't hear it.
Subscribe. All right. We'll see you all next time, where something crazy happens to Josh. He dies. Goodbye.
Yeah, my character dies in the last one.
Rip. All right. Bye.
Peace, everyone.
Bye. It was weird because it was a Japanese trailer for Kingdom Hearts, and seeing Donald and Mickey and Goofy speaking in Japanese was weird.
I was like, what?
I was like,
Arigato.
I'm like,
Arigato, Sora-chan.
I'm sorry. I instantly can picture Goofy instead of having his like Goofy accent. He would have more of like a more proper.
I
gentleman tone.
I imagine him talking like Jotaro.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Oh my god.